auto title loan today for up to $2,500.
At Check Into Cash, you get the most for your car, and we make it quick, easy, and confidential.
Stop in for an auto title loan today or a payday advance for up to $425. Call toll-free 877-262-CASH.
Title loan amount determined by value of car and ability to repay. Borrowers often use payday advances over a period of months, which can be expensive. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
If you need a little green, Lending Frog is making deals. He'll lend you cash on any kind of wheels. Borrow just a little, or you can borrow big. Lending Frog is a new financial gig. It's hip to hop into cash. LendingFrog.com is making a splash. Dig it, dig it. Dig it, dig it.
Bonanza! We chased Lady Luck till we finally struck Bonanza. A gun and a rope and a hat full of hope, we planted our family tree. We got a hold of a pot full of gold. Bonanza! With a horse and a saddle and a ring full of cattle, how rich can a fellow be? On this land we put our brand, our pride is the name. Here in the West we're living in the best Bonanza. If anyone fights any one of us, he's gonna fight with me. Bonanza! Here we stand in the middle of a grand bonanza. With a gun and a rope and a hat full of hope, we planted our family tree. We got a hold of a pot full of gold. Bonanza! With a house full of friends with a rainbow and how rich can a fellow be? Fortune smiled the day we filed the Ponderosa claim. Here in the West we're living in the best bonanza. If anyone fights any one of us, he's gonna fight with me. Bonanza.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Where'd the old town go? They moved it on over here in the shopping mall.
Good morning and welcome to Old Town Cleveland here on WOOP FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.woopfm.com. You can call us here at 614-5553 if you're out of town. That's 423-614-5553. Old Town Cleveland is sponsored by Companion Funeral and Cremation Services, 2417 Georgetown Road, Northwest, 473-2620. The Cody family runs that. Give them a call and pre-plan your funeral today. Good morning, Debbie Moore. Tell me what's going on.
Good morning, Ron. Today is August the 22nd, and it's going to be a big day in downtown Cleveland. Do you know why?
Car show.
The car show. The cars were already pulling in. When we were down at the spot eating breakfast this morning, some beautiful cars sitting out in the road, I imagine saving their spot. But the Main Street Cleveland Car Show will be today. Officially, it kicks off about 1 o'clock. There'll be a lot of cars there before 1 o'clock. And technically, I think it's supposed to run to 5, but about 4:30, those folks start packing up and leaving. So go down, see the cars. Go down and see Martin and Kathy at the spot and tell them that we sent you. Get you a good spot burger.
And good morning to the Ledford family who said hello to us down to the spot this morning. They're a regular listener to Old Town Cleveland.
From the old field,
yeah,
they said.
Yeah. Brian McCamus, former officer of the Breathitt County Sheriff's Department, passed away this week, and our condolences out to his family. And Deb, I think Pro Daddy's playing somewhere. We always got to talk about Pro Daddy.
Daddy's playing some music tonight. Oh, it's not at the arena. I mean, the marina tonight. It is at
the V.
the VFW on North Ocoee Street on Saturday, August 27th, 9 to 1. Go by and see them. All 21-year-olds and above are welcome.
And happy birthday to my great aunt, Leatrice Farmer. She's 92 today.
92 years
We got
young.
a call here, Deb. Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Okay, Ron, I give you 1 minute to brag, and then you can shut up.
Yeah, you owe me $1, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, all right, Red and I had a bet on the Walker Valley Bradley game, and I took Bradley, of course. And Red did not win. Of course, it doesn't pay for that T-shirt that I lost a couple years ago to you, so I'm not even yet.
We had to degrade ourselves and go buy a Georgia T-shirt. Ron made me pay for it, Red. He couldn't throw his money down on that.
He's afraid somebody to say something about him.
That's
right. I hid in the car.
It would be a shame.
All right, I'll be expecting my $1.
Okay, I might go by down there at the spot and just tell them to buy you breakfast one more.
Hey, that works. We're there every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock.
That's going to cost you more than $1.
Well, I know that.
All right, Fred.
I'll be nice about it.
All right.
Thanks, Red.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Red's a regular listener here on Old Town Cleveland. We are always glad to hear from her.
Tell us what's going on today.
Well, we have the class of 1965 in here today from Bradley High School, the old Bradley.
That's some old folks.
And
65. Goodness gracious.
Now, Ron.
I was in grammar school.
If you have white hair, you can't call anybody else old.
I have white hair, what's left of it, so
Yes,
it's going away pretty quick.
We have Janice Chrysoots and Mary Margaret Abel Stamper and Bruce Epperson. And then after our break, we're going to have Raymond Bracken and Tommy Murphy joining us. And it's going to be a fun day. So if you have memories of the class of 1965 from Bradley, or if you were a freshman at that time and you have a story to tell, please call us and talk with us today. You know how I love our callers.
First thing I want to say, Mary Margaret Abel Stamper, I mean, you've got some names that are very well known in Cleveland. The Abels and Stampers, that's...
I'm sure more than one person will call in today to tell you that they bought their first bicycle at the Abel Hardware store.
I got my first bicycle at Abel Hardware.
And I had a whole toy department to play in.
Yeah.
Oh,
wasn't that a
you
great thing going on?
did.
It was Christmas every day for you then, wasn't it?
Every day. That's every kid's dream right there.
Well, guys, in 1965, interesting year, first year that combat troops went to Vietnam. We talked about the big hit of the year was Wooly Bully. Great year.
What was some more of those songs, Ron, that we...
there was some Beatle hits, of course, in 65. And
that was still the old Beatles stuff.
The Rolling Stone stuff. But if you go down and listen at, those songs are, those top 100 songs are just all classics. The songs that everybody would know. So you had good music years and everything like that. All right, so...
I always like the thing on Facebook that says, I might be old, but I went to all the best concerts.
Yeah.
It's what you say to your children and your grandchildren. I went to all the great concerts.
Bruce, who was the principal at Bradley at that time?
Mr. Bill Schultz.
Did you know him well?
Probably a little better than I should have.
So you got did your name ever come across the loudspeaker?
Well, it probably did for detention or something like that. But I don't specifically remember anything like that. But Janice worked in the office, and I think she probably sat right next to him, so she could probably tell you all about Bill Schultz.
Bill Schultz was an amazing person, but he had somebody behind him that took care of the discipline, and that was Mrs. Inez Clemmer.
And we all sat up straighter when she said that name.
Yes.
And that was a name that struck fear into the student body.
And Mr. Schultz was, he was like a figurehead because he had to do all the business and all that type of thing while she took care of the daily discipline and attendance. And one of the things I remember about Bill Schultz when I worked in the office, we had 485 students that were supposed to graduate, and finally I think it was down to 435 when we did graduate. And he took all of us that worked in the office, and we went in there and wrote his name, and I won. I got to sign 435 graduation diplomas.
So you were a good forger then, sounds like, Dennis.
Yeah.
I think Bill Schultz is one of those people that his hair turned white at an incredibly young age. And so to me, he was always this older guy. And when I start looking at the yearbooks, I'm thinking he probably was quite young at that time compared to what I am now. But
I'd say he was probably in his middle 50s.
You think so?
50 to 55, I would say, because my dad was a good friend of his father's and things. So I think that's about right.
That's about right. What? Who was his dad?
No, wait a minute.
Come back. His grandpa? No.
He has a nickname, but I can't think.
Somebody will tell us because I can't.
Was it Fat Schultz?
No.
Willis Fat Schultz. He's younger than.
No, it was. Well, there was a nickname for him, but
somebody will call and tell us because we're having memory lapses.
Right, but Miss Schultz could have been 45 because he does have children there.
Mary Margaret, I imagine you never were in trouble. You just don't look like you've ever been in trouble in your whole life.
I take the fifth.
You drank a fifth or you take a fifth? Which one is it now?
That's why she was never in trouble. She knows what to do, what to say, and what not to say.
Now, Miss Clemmer was even in grammar school. We heard about her coming up through the schools, and then I started in Bradley '68, and she retired the next year. So that's how rough our group was. When we run this Clemmer off, it was pretty tough. No, she left on her own accord. She's still just a very great lady, though. Very good. But she was, and we've had stories about her and kids being at the pool rooms, and they run up, and she'd just pull out front and blow the horn. They knew to get in the car, and she knew where students were all the time, and she'd call their house, says, "You need to come on to school. We know you're hanging out there." And so she had some informants, I believe, what it was. Yeah. So.
I'll say something about her that she was my idol because I had her 2 years for Latin, and she also taught American history when she taught Latin.
Get in front of that microphone.
Okay.
Get right there. You are.
Okay, and when one day I had done something I didn't know was wrong, and I was called to the office, and come to find out that I had that morning about 7:45 arrived at school, and I drove my brother and his friends that lived in the neighborhood, and there was a girl from Bachman Home that was down the restroom, and she was wanting to go see her mother, and she lived in, I think, Sevierville, and so she wanted to wait to get to the bus. So I said, "Oh, I'll be glad to take you to the bus." I just
naive.
Right, naive. But by 8:20, she was calling my name on that intercom, and I went in, and she said, "Janice, did you take so-and-so to the bus?" And I said, "No, ma'am."
Uh-oh.
Okay, and she said, "Okay, you can go." I got about 2 steps back, and I pivoted. After I turned around, I pivoted back. I said, "Yes, ma'am." I knew my goose was cooked.
Was it Pokey Schultz?
Good recall.
Yeah.
My name was going through all those funny little names. If you haven't been to what we call the New Bradley, that's 40 years old now, the New Bradley, up in the library, they did a great mural, kind of Bradley High School history, and his pictures up there. And I'm not sure the family didn't sponsor that, but I was so tickled when I saw it. I thought, well, maybe it'll make somebody curious to ask about history.
You said that every time I was called to office, I didn't know I'd done anything wrong either. I didn't know that was wrong. It didn't work then either. Mr. Schultz later became the mayor of Cleveland, and when I was in the cable industry, I had the opportunity to work with him quite often. And one day I said to Mr. Schultz Mr. Schultz was my principal. And a few minutes later, he leaned over to say, "I'd prefer if you said that we went to school together." So he had a sense of humor about him, and he really was a nice guy. Of course, being a principal, automatically you were sort of tense. But
what was his age when you all were working together when he was mayor?
Well, I think he was in his mid-70s.
If he was 50 in that age, he would have to be close to 70 by then.
Yeah.
Over 70.
Wow.
But was a great guy and did a good job as mayor while he was in there too. Who's football coach, Bruce? I know you played football.
Harold Hensley. Well, and I only played 1 year. I went to Bradley for 3 years. I went to Arnold Junior High for 3 years, and then played for Coach Hensley the first year. I was up there as a sophomore. I think the record that year was 7-3, and then when I was a junior, it seemed like it was 5-5, and then when I was a senior, I think it was 3-7, if I'm recalling this correctly. But it looked like the program was kind of limping.
Well, I can assure you, I came in '68 and it broke both legs by then.
Yeah. Okay.
And through my 4 years there, I think our best record was like 4-6, and we never beat Cleveland. We beat Cleveland the very first year the school was open, Cleveland High School. And then we didn't beat them.
It was a long dry spell.
It was a long, long time before we ever beat Cleveland High School.
And I don't know how long after I graduated that Coach Hensley remained there as a coach.
He left before '68.
Okay.
That '68, because an Allen, I can't think of his name, came in and was the coach. I don't know. I mean,
there was Allen that sold things to the schools, and then his twin brother was a football coach, and I'm thinking maybe it was him.
Could be. His first name was Coach.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of coaches, the coach that I really admired and played hard for was Rusty Clayton.
Yes.
He was. We had a B team that year, was undefeated. A lot of us had played together at Arnold, and when we got to Bradley, we kind of formed up the B team. And Coach Clayton was our coach, and we did pretty well.
I ran into Rusty about 5 or 6 months ago and talked for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the first time I'd seen him in years.
Well, I'm glad to hear he's still around.
He still
Great.
is. Still lives here in Cleveland.
Well, Coach Clayton, you did a great job, and I really enjoyed playing for you. I want you to know that, if you're listening.
Sometimes when you get grown, you realize you learned more from them than football.
Bill Walker was there?
Bill Walker had been the head coach before Coach Hensley took over, and then Coach Walker became the superintendent of schools, I believe, and with his responsibility, he gave up the head coaching position.
1969, the middle of my algebra class, he became superintendent of schools.
Okay.
I was passing when he was there, and I can't see what happened after that. So, but he was basketball coach.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he's another great guy.
Yes.
Great guy. Who was your favorite teacher?
Well, Miss Clemmer.
What about yours?
Oh my goodness, I took Spanish because I was scared of Mrs. Clemmer. And
did she teach Latin? Okay.
I was afraid of Latin.
But we had a really nice Spanish teacher, Mrs. Davis, Ellen Davis, I believe was her name.
I don't know. I thought you was going to say Miss Fitzgerald.
No, not for Spanish.
You look like more of the studious type, and you would like Miss Fitzgerald. For us, those proper English. So, are you got me fooled, Mary?
I do.
All right. She's not going to do anything to ruin it either.
It's amazing how Ronnie can read personalities. You were studious.
What about you, Bruce? Who's your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher was Ernest Adams. He taught vocational drafting, and I really enjoyed that. Took it 2 years under him, and really enjoyed that. And he had a lathe back behind his desk in a little closet area, and we got the opportunity to use that machine. And I was sort of mechanical, and basically got a mechanical engineering degree, but I think he gave me a boost in that direction.
That's good, yeah. You wouldn't recognize drafting now. There's none of those tables or anything anymore. It's all done on a computer with CAD programs. And
I remember when those guys were in high school and you got that first slide rule and they'd strap it to their side, and it was a real status symbol. And Mr. Adams was proud of them. Those were his, at that time, boys.
Oh, yes.
There were I think I graduated in 74, and a friend of mine was one of the first girls that ever got to do that kind of work.
Yeah, he was a real mentor.
Name some of the people you went to school with. I mean, who did you run with,
Well,
statute of limitations over. You can mention them by name.
I've got a whole list of folks that I feel like we were good friends back in those days. Bobby Taylor, Dennis Guffey, Howard Fulton, Jerry Goodner, Franklin Hubbard, Steve Jackson, Candy Jones, Tony McClanahan, Kathy McConnell, Richard Merriman, Gordon Moore, Roy Maples, Alvin Nipper, Gary Norris, John O'Neill, Randy Robinson, Sullivan Stewart, Gail Tucker, Jimmy Tippins, Dee White, David Whaley, Kay White, Jane Wood, Ronnie Williams. I just
to name a few.
Yeah, sure.
David lived right up the street from us.
David Whaley.
David Whaley. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we were in the neighborhood together. That's right.
Sure was. Yeah,
and he had intended to come on today, but I got an email from him a day or two ago that said he was going to be in Philadelphia visiting his grandchildren.
I haven't seen David in a long time. I've seen him on Facebook, but I haven't seen him in a long time. You didn't mention Willie Bain.
Willie Bain. There's a lot that I didn't mention, but I just had this.
I can understand you leaving Willie out of the... Willie was another neighbor down in the neighborhood.
We see Willie every morning, or Ron sees him every morning at Hardee's, and you know he's there because you can hear him from the parking lot. He tells lots of stories, and he tells them loud.
We talk about his Dodge that he had jacked up. I don't know how he drove it. It looked like it was straight up in there. You remember that Dodge he had? It
yes,
jacked up front end.
And he wasn't very tall to begin with.
Right. He's still not.
No.
Mary, do you remember your friends and people from high school? Get a little closer to the mic there.
I remember a lot, and I started a list. I started with just people that lived in the neighborhood because, I started, and we really had a lot of kids in the neighborhood that went to Bradley. So I'll just start with Steve Sloan.
Wait a minute. The evil just come in her eyes.
The sparkle in her eyes.
Steve Sloan. The way she said that.
Tell us about Steve.
Well,
Tell me about.
He was a very, very nice
guy. Right into the microphone, please.
He lived down on Oakland Drive, and I lived on Oak Street there between 20th and 21st Street. So we just had a whole bunch of people from Bradley that lived in that whole kind of extended neighborhood. He was a senior when we were freshmen, and I happened to be outside possibly with my neighbor Sherry Wood, and
keep going.
And Steve drove up, headed back to his house on Oakland Drive, and he leaned out the window and he waved the biggest wave I've ever seen, and I was so impressed, and I still am, that he would wave to a freshman. But then there were so many kids in the neighborhood, if you've got time for me to just read this real quickly.
Go ahead.
I'll start with Steve Sloan, Sherry Wood, me, my sister Dottie Abel. We're not all in the same class, but all these kids. All the Renfros down there, Larry, Jeff, and Cam, they had a Basset hound that would come to all the ball games. And I can't think of the Basset hound's name, but I think one year in the annual, I didn't look for it, he was voted that had the most class spirit.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've seen him in the annual here. His picture's in there.
Okay. And Butch Storm was around someplace, Rebecca Kiker, all the Jones kids, Martha Hobbs, Diane Barger, Keith Parker, Randy Ty, Dennis Guffey, Wayne Carmichael, Gray Epperson, Jane Doherty, Susan Morgan, came to her grandparents. She was in our neighborhood a lot because she stayed with her grandparents quite a lot. Gordon Moore, his brother Kurt, Gary Fletcher, Gene Sappin was over closer to the school. There was Sylvia Lackey, Susan and Jane. And Linda and Brenda Bomer that lived over by Deer Park, Candy Jones down on Ocoee Street. I could just go on and on, but that's where I stopped writing.
Right. You know, I think that's what children are missing today is that you don't know your neighbors. And your parents would turn you loose, and as long as you were back to your house by the time the street light came on, everything was okay.
Well, Wayne Carmichael's mother, when it got dark or when it was time to come in, she'd go out and blow this big whistle. And so that...
So everybody knew it's time to go home.
Yeah.
I knew Bruce's neighbor very well. They were two very good-looking girls.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
The ball girls.
That's right. Diane and Elaine. Go ahead. Who do you remember?
Well, probably the two had spent the most time with was Randy and Arthur Fox.
Oh, my word. Did you think up the mean stuff for Randy Fox to do, or could he come up with it on his own?
He was a lot of fun. He had more energy than, just more energy. I spent a lot of time with people in the van. because that's what I mainly did in high school. Was I was in the band and going on the trips and everything. Sherry Ferris, Susan Ball. I was trying to think. Carol Daniels is still my best friend, and she lives here in Cleveland now. She lived in New York for a long time.
I've seen her Wednesday.
You did?
Yeah, I sure did.
Oh my goodness, she's Carol Hickey now.
Yes.
But you know, the band members were close. Mary Margaret was a member of the band too, and when we traveled, we just had such a great time. Remember marching across the Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee line. We got out of the bus one night. About 2 o'clock in the morning, we'd come back from a competition, and I believe it was Murfreesboro, marching band competition. We decided we were going to play from the monument to the high school. We got out of the bus and marched at 2 o'clock in the morning to the high school. Y'all see all the lights that came on. You know, what are these people doing? But the police okayed it. You know, the band director had called, but we were
That's
so
a good little march. That's a good little distance.
Yes.
Who was the band director?
Stanley Wright was my first 2 years, and then Don Wilson. He was a little short guy, and he knew how to throw a baton, because I got one of those every now and then.
You go to jail if you do that in school systems now.
Right. Yeah. But it was just.
That's Deb. Got her phone turned on.
But I had a wonderful 3 years at Bradley. I also went to Arnold from grades 1 through 9. So, you know, we were really excited. My dad, since I lived right next to Arnold, on the other side of Arnold on 4th Street, he wouldn't let me go to Bradley my 9th grade year, but I was always glad later that I stayed, because we made so many close friends that last year there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, Bruce, tell everybody where you grew up.
I grew up in Wildwood, I guess is what the community's called.
Close to the lake.
On Dare Key Road, yeah. Where Dare Key intersects Spring Place Road. And I remember, Ronnie, you and your family lived right there on the corner.
Right on the corner from you,
yeah,
right.
And our house was the third house down Dare Key.
Yeah, the Balls lived one side, and who lived down the other side? There was Rybacks.
Well, Joyce Ledford and her mother lived on the other side when we were growing up there. There's been several people in and out of that particular residence, which I couldn't keep up with over the years, but
the Bangs lived down the road. Willie Bang lived down the road.
Hill. Over the hill, yes. Larry Rutledge and his sister lived on top of the hill, and there wasn't a road that went directly over the hill at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It went around by the spring.
Right.
Wildwood Spring, and I'm sure a lot of folks have visited that spot. It seems to be
capped over now.
Pretty popular place, yeah, and that access has been cut off, I understand. Mm-hmm. And then the Husky family lived just past the Baines. Dewey Husky was a good friend of mine. He was a couple of years older than me. We used to have some real scrappy football games in his front yard. And
now the way we lived up Spring Place and
yes.
Queens, Murray's.
Terry Griffith lived on down that way, and then a little later Royce Dunn lived on the right down there. So we had a pretty active neighborhood, and up behind you, the McKenzies, Toby McKenzie.
Chastain.
Yes, lived up Spring Place Road.
David Robinson lived in that.
David Robinson sure did, and I understand Carolyn Chastain is going to be coming to the reunion. It's one or both of our events. That's great. I'm looking forward to seeing her.
Yeah, so just all these communities. I guess everybody went to Oak Grove then, didn't they?
Yes, when we first
Big Springs.
When we first moved there, I was 6 years old and went to Big Springs for a couple of years, and that's where I met Jerry Lawson, Guffey. So she was a good friend from the very beginning. Then, after they completed building the new Oak Grove School, I transferred there, a little closer.
What year do you think that was, Bruce, that you went to Oak Grove?
Oh, let's see. It was probably in the the late
57, 58?
yeah,
Well,
late
56
50s.
maybe. I'm thinking that the first year the school was open was 1956. Miss Lacey was there, come to think of it.
So did you move out to Spring Place about 51, 52? Is that when?
No, it was 53.
53.
I was born in 47.
Yeah.
We moved when I was 6 years old, so that would have been 1953. That was a house that my granddad Epperson and my dad built there.
And
I
we
look-
built your house too.
Yes, we
Ron's
did.
house too. And I was thinking that house was built in 51, but that was the year your mom and dad got married, and then they went to Cincinnati and did stuff, and then they came back. So it was about the same time, I think, that
Just
house was
after
built.
that. Okay, now here's a tough question. Who was the boys? I mean, the boys that you had to-
Jan,
We
Jan
don't know-
gave him the
we don't know who
teacher-
Mary's is.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, you just got the teacher look from Jan.
It ain't the first time. Yeah. Who's the boys? The boys.
Well, I think my first sweetheart, if you want to go by that way, was probably Dee White.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't have picked a better one.
Oh,
He was
no,
a fine fellow.
but we had a lot of good guys in our class. You know, a lot of them we ran as a bunch sometimes.
So who was the heartthrob? Go ahead and say
I'm
it.
definitely going to take fifth on that one. I have to see these guys now.
Yeah, you have to.
Well,
you
I
have
say then, not now.
Pick Bubba. Pick Bubba.
Oh, that's
Brother
next
Bubba.
year. The next year. I think Dee remained one of the main ones. He was always so friendly. He
Yes.
didn't meet a stranger. He didn't care where you came from, who you were. He would be your friend.
Oh, that's good.
And that was the type I always, Terry McGuire.
Oh, I love
Another
Terry.
great guy.
That
He was always
lost
a
now.
friend. In fact, he was a friend right up until he died. And I don't know. That's probably the two that I had some, conversation with the most. I had a lot of. I dated some people. I dated Thompson Boy, Richard Thompson, Howard Fulton,
Yes.
and just.
This is
fun
only a
guys.
2-hour show.
Okay, we're ready.
All right, Mary. Besides Steve Sloan,
She's just laughing. She's just laughing.
Oh, she's goading me on.
go ahead.
Oh, God. Well, I was in the band too, and I went on over to Bradley from Arnold in the 9th grade simply because I thought, let's make a change. And, I might have been better off to stay over at Arnold, but I sure did have a nice time at Bradley. And it was close, and the band was very important to me too.
But who was the heartthrob? You're not getting away from it now, Mary.
Janice will tell your story for
Go
you.
ahead. No.
Well, I didn't have too many in high school.
I need to mention your husband is listening.
Yeah, but
But-
that came later.
That came later.
And, because he left Bradley. He was at Bradley in the 9th grade, and then he wanted to go on, and so he went to Macaulay. So he graduated from Macaulay. But he did ask me to the senior dance at Macaulay down there in 1965. And Otis Redding came to play. That was the band that we had at Macaulay. It was a fabulous.
Ron's looking envious at this moment.
yeah.
He would have dated Joe for that.
He
I
played,
wouldn't kiss him, but not on the first date.
of course, he played Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
yeah.
And all those
Oh, my
good ones.
goodness.
And I had a great time. I thought we both had a great time. But I never heard from Joe again after that dance. So we went our own ways and went to school. And I taught school 1 year out at Northwood School. And then I went on to fly for Delta Airlines for 30 years. And I would come home to visit. And Mother would say, why don't you call Joe? Because he was back working at Magic Chef. So I said, well, really, if you wanted to talk to me, he would have called sometime in the last 8 years. But I did call, and we thought, oh, okay, you want to go to a movie or something? And so we did, and here we are.
Flew for Delta for 30 years.
Doing 31.
Yeah. And so what year did you leave Delta?
2001.
Life started changing about them in the airline world.
Goodness, yes, I thought about it at that time.
You did.
All right, Bruce, who was the girls, the heartthrob of the girls?
Well, let's go back from the very beginning. Brenda Carroll, Nancy Truitt, these were Oak Grove girls.
Yeah.
Bonnie McSpadden during high school. Harleen Boland during junior high. Dated Heidi Aycock a little bit. Linda Taylor a little bit. And then I was off to other places.
Yes.
And I might have missed one or two somewhere.
You know,
flowed off awful easy. Did you notice?
You guys, when I spend a lot of time looking at old yearbooks because I find some really good pictures in the advertisements and stuff. And I will tell you, the years that you guys were at Bradley, you have the iconic yearbooks. Who was the photographer? Do you guys remember some of the great? I mean, was it a high school student that you recall, or was it a professional photographer? Use the microphone.
I think we used some of both.
It's just some of them look so playful, but get the
special pictures like Mr. and Miss.
Yeah.
You know,
those were by the photographer. And then I think in one of these there's a trio of some kind that sang. They look like, kind of like little folk singers. And
back here in the ads, they had a lot of
talk in the microphone. Yes. But a lot of those are that we post those pictures on Old Town Cleveland, and this is exactly where they came from, is out of these old yearbooks. And there's some years that I have not gotten my hands on, and I need to figure out what those years are and announce that, because I'm sure that folks out there that have those yearbooks would loan them to me long enough to get the pictures out of it. And sometimes the big problem is they've got them autographed and they're signed all over. I noticed all the girls are wearing skirts here. Talk about that a little bit, Janice, for somebody listening that may not have gone to school here. What was the dress code like at that time, besides a lot of Aquanet hairspray?
Well, the last year or the year before, there came through a fad of wearing white wigs. You remember that? Oh, yes. We wore white wigs. But most of us wore skirts because we were not allowed to wear pants. In fact, I know I always...
Where do you think the white wig thing came from? Was it a singing group or
white wigs?
I've got mine on now.
So you're talking like a bouffant hairdo white wig?
Yes.
Well, we recently buried Ron's mom, and that was the thing. I said, I was explaining to this girl that was a fourth of my age. It seemed like what kind of hairstyle I wanted for Grandma, and I said, just make it look like a big white football helmet.
Hey, it's you're listening to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.whoopfm.com. Call us here at 614-5553. We're sponsored by Companion Funeral Home Cremation Services on Georgetown Road, 473-2620. Today we got Janice Suits, Mary Margaret Abel Stamper, and Bruce Epperson in here for the first hour, and then we'll change around a little bit. The phones are now open. You can call us here at 614-5553.
Every now and then you have to do that, folks. We also have a book signing coming up in September the 29th. Is that correct, Ron?
That is correct.
The Bill Talley story is coming out then. We're going to do a show about that on the 26th, and then the book signing is on the 29th. Let's get this call on.
The name of the book is How Tall Is Your Sign? Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron. Debbie, this is Joe.
Hey,
Good morning, Joe. How are you this morning, dear?
Well, I'm doing better than I was last week because I couldn't call in.
Oh, we got busy last week.
Oh, and that lady, did you say she was 90-year-old?
The lady that called in that talked for so long, I hope that we can get her on our show.
Oh, I know it. I hope you do.
I'm going to work on that.
But I called and the line was busy every time. And I want to thank you both for playing my song, even though I didn't call in. but I couldn't get through.
Okay.
And I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one today.
Thank you, dear.
Talk with you later.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We have listeners that this show is their Saturday morning fun time. And so we always love to hear from them, and we play her Just a Swingin' every Saturday morning when we go off, because that's her favorite song, and I can just kind of see her dancing in my head.
Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Well, good morning.
Hey, Marilyn.
If Jan Fuchs ever takes a breath.
Marilyn, what are you doing?
I'm a chauffeur in T-Bandy from One Yard Sale to
Oh, sounds like fun to me.
Oh, boy. And we've been up to Arby's to eat pancakes with the
Aubrey's, yeah.
Aubrey's.
Well, Marilyn, are you coming to the reunion?
If I can scratch up the money, my lawnmower will lend it to me.
Quarter at a time.
Well, did you want to ask a question today?
Or do you have a story?
I just wanted them to know I always call in and aggravate them so they want them here. There's a veterans group having a yard sale and some kind of motorcycle show or something at the St. Teresa Catholic Church, if anybody runs out of.
Or in Main Street, Cleveland's having their big car show today, too, for those people that like to go look at old shiny stuff.
Yeah.
Marilyn, you said Janice was talking so much. She actually brought an oxygen bottle with her so she didn't have to take a breath.
Y'all known each other for a long time, haven't you?
She worked at Oak Grove with me.
Yeah, I worked at Oak Grove with her. Jan was our son's favorite teacher. I think it was 4th grade, and he was the smallest child in the room. And Jan would say, I don't know what to do. He's crying because everybody's bigger than he is. And when he came in on leave from the Army, I said, you go over and you see Miss Sue. And he was over 6 foot tall, and I said, tell her that she finally grew into that body.
He went from the smallest child in the 4th grade to the tallest child in graduation line.
Yep.
And, he's a good guy. He's a big boy son.
He's a fine fella.
Yeah, and but that always.
Now, Marilyn, did you go to Bradley all 4 years?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I know that you went to Arnold, but I didn't know what the breakdown was there.
I went to Arnold in the 7th grade. Then I went back to Cohutta in the 8th grade. And then we lived on Hardwood Street, and I caught the bus at Stoney Supermarket.
You called a school bus, or was it a public bus?
It was a school. I'm pretty sure it was a school bus. We called it Stoney's and went to Bradley. And then we moved down on Dowdy Road, and then the year I was a senior, we lived down on Keith Valley.
Yeah, moved at Christmas, I believe.
Yeah, and I've been married 50 years this year, too. So.
There you go.
Congratulations.
She graduated and got married the next day.
Must have been a school days sweetheart.
No, it's a neighborhood sweetheart.
Well,
the neighborhood Romeo.
She's been happily married for 40 years, though.
Was that the first 40 or the last 40?
It come and go. There's one or two here.
Random. Yeah, random.
Marilyn, who was your favorite teacher?
Eugenia Rogers.
Oh, I could listen to her talk all day.
Oh, she was so nice to me, and you know, really complimentary on the things that I did, and I looked at some of them and think, bless her little heart, she was awfully generous to have bragged. But she just made a history so interesting that you didn't want the class to end, you wanted to hear more.
And what we talk about here on the show is making sure you write things down. Well, she wrote newspaper articles for years, and when I find one of those newspaper articles, I know that the research was done, or her daddy that was the newspaper editor for years. It's correct, is what I'm trying to say, and I always get tickled when I find one of her articles.
Well, I'm enjoying the program, and Mr. T would be very mad at me if I didn't mention the fact that he has a fish coming September the 19th.
So if anybody needs fish, they need to call him at 478-2405. You can pick those up at the co-op. And what day was that?
September the 19th.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Now,
Marilyn.
That's not eating fish. That's putting in your pond fish.
Bye-bye. It is not a fish fry and hush puppies. It's carp.
That's the later.
Not fresh from the coast, huh?
No, you grow them yourself, and then you can do whatever you want to do with them.
Janice, what was your first car you ever had? Oh.
Well, that would be hard to say, but my dad drove hookups from Detroit.
Oh.
So there was always a different car hanging around, but the one I kept the longest was one he brought in when I was about 17. It was a 56 Chevrolet convertible.
Oh, don't you wish you still had that?
Yes, I do.
Good. Hello, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Who are we talking to?
This is Dennis Duffy.
Oh, they all grinned. I think they know who you are. Janice, go ahead and talk.
Hey, Dennis.
Yeah,
That was Mary Margaret.
yeah. I just called in to say hello to all you folks to appreciate what everybody's doing with us. I'm calling from Greenville, South Carolina. So, got a lot of static. I'm listening to the show online. Got a lot of static.
Well, this week we will put that on YouTube. We'll make sure that Janice has it on Facebook, and you'll be able to listen to it without static.
We just tell everybody there that I'll be in with meeting on next Saturday, planning meeting, and I will have my team. So just give everybody a warning.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you for calling.
Sometimes it's not too clear, but I wish it had been a little bit clearer. He said South Carolina.
Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys want to talk about next, but I think this would be a good time to talk about our reunion, our planning process.
Probably the reason you're here today, right?
Well, we'll get around to the whole story here.
Well, yeah, but go ahead and do that right now.
Well,
yeah.
I'll just kick it off a little bit here, but to my knowledge, we started this process about 7 months ago in February. Was that the first?
Talk in that microphone.
Oh, grab the microphone.
Well, I think I may have attended the second meeting then, but Susan Morgan seems to have been the lead on getting us together for this planning. And
Yes.
we've had numerous planning sessions and a great participation from about 15 or 20 people in these planning sessions, and there are some great things lined up for our reunion at the last weekend in September. On Friday evening, September the 25th, we'll be at the Tri-State Exhibition Center in the Louis Alford building there. That's going to be a barbecue that's going to be catered and very informal. There's going to be some background music from the 60s. We're really looking forward to a good turnout for that. And then on Saturday night, we're going to be at the Cleveland Country Club up Lee Highway toward Charleston, I believe.
Right.
It's going to be an informal dinner, and there's a great menu. And I want Janice or Mary Margaret or both to give some more details of all those things, and we'll just get everybody enthused about this, I hope.
Well, the Saturday night starts at 6 p.m. It's a social hour, so that's a great time to come and just mingle and meet and greet and get reacquainted with everybody and recognize people. Sometimes they don't look the same, and you feel funny saying, "Who are you?" But then 7 p.m. is the dinner, and there's going to be a lot of neat things done during the dinner. And it's also a casual. You don't have to worry about what to wear. Just come on and have a great time.
Yeah, and some of the things that are going to be on the program, could you kind of run through that list of things?
Well, I know that there's going to be a memorial. We've had quite a few of our class members that are deceased now. So we're going to do a slideshow and show those faces and just remember our classmates that are not with us anymore. Wayne Carmichael is an excellent bagpipe player, and he will play Amazing Grace, and it will be a very serious but sweet moment to remember people that are not here anymore.
And I think we'll have those senior pictures projected during that program.
Yes, the senior pictures will be projected, and if anybody has any memorabilia from that era, there's going to be a table. We can display all kinds of fun things. I've got my band jacket to bring and just odds and ends. And Jane Presswood's mother, she did not know until the other day, had saved most everything Jane had from high school. So I think we've got a treasure trove there.
That's great.
So we'll have some fun looking through things from 50 years ago.
Do you need to register somewhere? How do you register to do these events?
We have a invitation, and you can send it in. Call somebody up if you want to, any way you want to do it. But if you have not paid, the barbecue is $25 per person. That's on Friday night, the 25th. The Cleveland Country Club dinner is the 26th. It's $35 per person. And you can just send that in with hopefully both events that you will be attending, one or the other, whichever, or both. Send it to Susie Stanfield, 445 Talley, Talley Street, Northeast, Cleveland, Tennessee, 37312.
Okay. Make sure you leave that information with Deb, because someone will call us next week and ask us.
Okay.
So that's September 26th?
September 25th, the Friday night event, and the 26th Saturday.
Okay, sounds great. I've seen it at several reunions now. When they had a name tag, they took the picture out of your annual, put it on there, and it sure did help me remember who I was talking to, because I walked up and I said, "Hey, Ron," I went, "Hey."
We're going to do that on Saturday night. Friday night, we've invited some of the other classes to come. But they have to also have reservations. So there is an invitation on Facebook, I believe, on Susan, or the class of 65, that they can fill out and send in. Or if they will call me at 479-3191, I'll mail them one of these. And they only have a week left to get it in.
The deadline is August the 31st.
I have several big folders of scanned pictures of the 60s classes from 65, 4, 3, 2. I have all kind of pictures there. So if you'd like to have, I'll make you a copy of those, and be glad to use those if you'd like to. Because we have a lot. Yeah, Deb and I tend to collect a lot of that stuff. We had to start putting it on the computer because all the rooms are stacked with pictures and notebooks, and we got a call here. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Randy Fox. I say hi to Bruce before he goes off.
Okay, your name again, please?
Randy Fox.
Randy Fox. How you doing, Foxy?
I'm Bruce. How you haven't seen you in 50 years?
Well, we're going to have an opportunity to link back up here in about a month. So have you signed up for one or both of these get-togethers?
Well, one of them, I'm in class 66, which is the best class there ever was.
That's okay. We'll go with that.
I thought you were in the class of 66, 7, and 8.
Well, I could have been.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Which one are you going to be coming to, Randy?
To the barbecue.
To the barbecue. Good.
You can have a date with my brother. How's that?
I'll fight.
He says that Bubba has enough mouth for 3 sets of teeth. I hate to steal your story there, Randy, but...
Oh, that's all right. It's 6 cents.
Oh, 6 cents.
All right, I'll let y'all get back to it. Enjoying the show.
Well, thanks for calling in.
You can call us here at 614-5523. I got the number wrong now. 614-5553. We're talking about the class of 1965. We got Janice Fry, Suits here, Mary Margaret Abel Stamper, all those good names in there. And Bruce Everson coming on after the break at 11 o'clock. Got Raymond Bracken and Tommy Murphy here. I know both those guys, and I'll have to guard the radio real close here because you don't tell them what they will say. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Well, good morning. I just heard my name mentioned a while ago, and I thought I would call in. This is Carolyn Chastain, and I remember Bruce Jefferson.
Hi, Carolyn. Man, it's great to hear from you. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Well, I remember all of our days back in grade school when we lived there close to each other in the same neighborhood, and of course your brother Bobby and I were best of friends and still are. Haven't had contact with him in a while, but it sure is great to hear from you.
Well, it's good hearing your voice on the radio and everybody, and I can't wait to see you guys in a month. Haven't seen anyone, I guess, in 50 years. Is Tommy Murphy there?
Tommy will be coming on in a few minutes, and after 50 years, I think we all have a little cobwebs we're going to have to kind of sweep out to recall how things were.
Yeah, 'cause I don't look anything like I used to, that's for sure.
Well, probably most of us don't.
Well, anyway, I just enjoyed the show this morning. It was so good to hear everybody's voice, and so I just wanted to call in and say hello, and I will see you in about a month.
Well, thank you so much for calling. Good hearing from you, and looking forward to seeing you.
All right. See you.
Bye-bye. Well, you know, people out there listening, once again, 614-5553, in case you haven't heard the number, and with that light flash. There it is.
Flashing.
Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron Deb. How's it going?
Hey, Bullet, how you doing, sir?
I know you're feeling pretty good after last night.
Oh, yeah, good win for the Bears, 34-27 in a very exciting game. Cleveland got beat 26-6.
Yeah, it was a no score to the half, and then Cleveland wore out. I didn't expect much out of that game anyway, but I'm just glad Bradley won. And I just want to ask you if any of your people that's on your radio is not doing anything, not tell them come to VFW and listen to Pro Daddy.
VFW Pro Daddy, right?
Yeah, and I mean it is a nice place to go. I mean, people are welcome even though you're not veterans on the Saturday nights, and the atmosphere is nice, and it's just a good place to go have a good time.
Gosh, Bull, if you think it's nice, I know it is.
Well, I actually fell over there last night twice.
You shouldn't be drinking so much.
No, my right leg was giving out on me for some reason, and but I think it's just a spasm I've been having in my leg. But people was worried about me, and they started calling the ambulance for me. I said, no, it's no problem, and I'm going to just have to deal with it and just go from there.
So they ain't going to take you away from a ball game, are they?
No, I actually stayed to the fourth quarter and left. Oh. Anyway, I don't know your people, I don't think, but and I just want to call in and say hi to you and Deb, and appreciate your show.
All right. Hey, thanks, Bullet.
Talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye. We got a lot of good fans around here in Cleveland. We'd like to appreciate them. I'd also like to thank Companion Funeral Home and Cremation Service at 2417 Georgetown Road Northwest, 473-2620. Do your pre-planning now. Those are good friends. Those are our sponsors. Glad to have them. Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, this is Wayne Carmichael and his lovely wife Patricia Burns Carmichael.
Hey, you Carmichaels. Good to hear from you all.
Hey, Bruce. I got to tell you, if you have that red shirt to a game I take you to, it better not be Alabama or Georgia.
Well, you know, I debated on whether or not to wear orange today, but this one seemed to fit the occasion a little better. But when those games come around, you can bet I'll be wearing orange.
I know it. You're true blue. Well, we just wanted to call and say hi to everybody.
How's everything going down there in Jasper, Georgia?
Well, it's quit raining, so it's little Orphan Annie's. The sun will come out tomorrow.
Well, it's time to mow the yard now if the rain stops.
We don't have a yard. We gave up on that years ago. Anyway, we'll let somebody else get on here.
Well, you tell Pat we said hi.
All right.
Oh, I got a question for you, Wayne.
Buddy.
Hi, Pat.
A great job
Well, thank you. Wish you were here.
Okay.
Well, you know, you sound like you were pretty involved with your grandchildren, and that's wonderful. We have a wonderful granddaughter, just turned 3, and I know where you're at with grandchildren. Now I have a question for Wayne. Why isn't your senior picture in the 65 annual?
Okay. I'll try to do this. And I went to Arnold, 8 years. Went to Bradley, 9th and 10th grade. One day my father, who was on the school board, came in and was not happy with something. I don't remember what happened. But anyway, he said, I'll send you anywhere you want to go, but I want you to go somewhere. So I picked Macaulay because I knew a bunch of guys down there, and I went there 2 years. And then I graduated by taking courses, American history and English in the summertime that caught up with everybody else. I graduated from Bradley in 65, but I just didn't go through the regular process.
Yeah.
So is that confusing enough? What do you see with you guys?
Well, that explains it. Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
And I wondered if you were at the Otis Redding concert.
Oh, yeah.
Macaulay.
I was too.
Were you really?
We were together. I can't even remember who I took.
Better watch it, Wayne. No,
Let's say I'm eating a fine breakfast she made for me this morning. We even got into the Benton bacon in honor of being on the radio.
Yeah, you're trying to make amends now. I can see.
Benton bacon.
With a fine breakfast comment, but you're right. The Benton bacon is hard to beat.
I can be down there shortly.
Yeah, a question too. We've heard Mary Margaret's and Joe's story somewhat. What about yours and Pat? When did you guys start dating?
No.
I'm sorry, you broke up.
That's the 20th Bradley High School reunion.
The 20th reunion.
We re-met.
Was that the one at the country club?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's full of lap time there.
Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, we got you.
On Friday night, it was the pool. Everybody met at a swimming pool. And Susan Morgan kind of pushed us to visit each other, and he had a canoe, so I decided that he was a good man.
All right.
That's a way to pick a man right there.
You were interested in canoeing, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, we live out in the middle of the woods. We had a bear come in the house this past week.
My goodness. What, did you feed him good?
Well, no. We saw me back up, but he stood out there waiting for something to eat. We had to shoo him off, and he just ambled on down the walkway. So it's pretty exciting up here in the woods.
Sounds like it.
That's bad, but I had a dead skunk in my pool 2 weeks ago.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, that's a little harder to deal with.
That kind of goes along with my pool. I call it a stinking pool when I have to maintain it.
Definitely. All right.
You know, I haven't heard y'all mention the Sugar and Spice and the Bears Den and the trip in between. That's what we used to do on the weekend.
Oh, tell me about it. Well, we got another hour yet, Pat.
Good.
Definitely. We're going to talk about some of those places. The Bears Den and the Sugar and Spice,
Starview.
the Chow Now and the Starview, and a few other
We'll get to
places.
that in the second hour. Well, thank you so much for calling.
Okie doke.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
The first hour has already passed.
We still got
Ron-
5 minutes here.
Okay, we're going to read off a list here for just a few minutes, and then we're going to break, and we'll come back right
We've got
after.
no call here.
Oh.
We'll get to it. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hey, listen, this is Cornbread.
Hey, Cornbread.
Hey, Cornbread, what's going on today, buddy?
I'm doing fine. It's nice to listen to y'all on the radio. Good program y'all got going on there. But I've got Tennessee this year. Tennessee Vols going 9-3 this year, and whenever y'all take a break or whatever, can y'all play my song, Tennessee song there for me, the bluegrass style?
Oh,
Rocky Top.
Okay.
Yeah, Rocky Top. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It'll be right after 12.
I enjoy listening to y'all. Y'all it sounds good on the radio and everything. But I got Tennessee 9-3 this year.
We hope.
We hope you're right.
If not better.
We'll play that song at 12 o'clock.
Thank you, dear. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Folks, we're going to read now. What list is this, Bruce?
Well, to go back just a few minutes, Janice started out talking about we had 485 initially in our class, and I think 435 walked across the stage. So there was a 50 people there that somehow didn't walk across the stage. They may have graduated early or later during summer school.
Hold on just a second, Bruce. Let's get this
Okay.
Sorry.
Then
Okay.
Go ahead, caller. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hey, Ron and Debbie, this is Ed Elkins. Just catching your show here this morning.
Hi, Ed.
Wanted to remind the students from the class of 1959 that we're having our 56th reunion tonight up at Hardee's on Key Street, starting at 5 o'clock.
Okay, anybody who wants to come, if you know people that were going to school then and you want to come visit, even if you're not out of the class of 59,
There you go. Yeah.
they would love to have you come.
We want to have about 50, 55 people there, which is a pretty good turnout for our class because we've lost about 30% of our class.
Mm-hmm. And tell me again which Hardee's it is because you know I get confused about that.
Well, it's the Hardee's on Key Street.
Key Street.
Of Tractor Supply.
Thank you. I hope you have a great crowd.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Enjoying your show.
Thank you, dear.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we're going to turn the phones off and let Bruce read here.
Okay, so starting with 435 graduates in this planning process, Susan Morgan West and probably some other folks helped her compile a list of those folks, and trying to get contact information for that many people after this length of time has really been a challenge. And I'd like to commend the folks that worked on that. I think you've done a wonderful job. However, there are some that we don't have contact information for. And also in this list, as Mary Margaret mentioned a few minutes ago, the memorial service that we're going to recognize the folks who have been deceased. I think there's probably 75 approximately that we know of that are no longer with us. But I have a list here of about 55 people that we have no contact information for, and I'd like to just start down the list.
Just read it to us. Just
okay.
read it to us.
So the names of these folks that we haven't found
missing.
yet, and anyone who might know contact information for these folks, or if the individual is listening, we sure would like to hear from you.
And if you just call me at 479-3191.
You won't be missing any more.
For a good time call. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, the list starts out with Jerry Ash, Brenda Bennett, Doug Blanchard, James Brannon, Gary Brock. Now, I think this is the Gary Brock that I have run across up in Knoxville. So he's a construction worker. I think he's a finished carpenter. I believe that's his trade. But I have bumped into him when I worked at TVA downtown Knoxville. So, Gary, I'd like to hear from you. Judy Broughton, Joe Brown, Carol Burgess, Linda Burris, Dale Cash, Margarita Cooley, Kathy Edwards, Linda Eldridge, Kenneth Ellis, Debbie Elrod, Judy Forgy, Sandra Freeman, Linda Gates, Priscilla Gates, Rebecca Gentry, Jean Guerin, Jean, Guerin.
Geren.
Yeah.
Oh,
First
I'm
name
sorry.
is
I'm
Jean.
sorry.
Yeah, with a J. Joyce Guerin, Carol Gibson, Brenda Gladson, Eddie Goins, Teresa Graham, Russell Gray, Donna Griffith, Beverly Guffey, Franklin Hall, Sarah Hayes, Janelle Hitt, I believe is the way you say it, Hitte, H-I-T-T-E. Danny Houston. Danny, hopefully I'll get a chance to talk about some things that you and I did to an old hot rod Ford back when we were in school. So I'd like to hear from you, Danny. Gail Hunt, Gary Knight, Teresa Lane, Charles Ledford, Connie Lee, Ernestine Longwit, Carlene Maples, Janice McAllister, Brenda Parker, Brenda Pruitt, Jerry Raper, Paul Sipe, Joan Smith, Doug Spencer, Butch Storm, Jackie Tinsley, Shirley True, Danny Waters, Brenda Wilson, Carolyn Woods, and Carol Wright. If you folks have heard your name called, how about making contact with Janice, and we'll get you on the list and get all your good information.
Tell us your phone number one more time, Janice.
Okay, 479-3191.
Okay. And folks, we're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back with you in about 5 minutes.
When we play, at the end of the little few sponsorships we play a song called Gone Home. We dedicate that to the people who've passed in this past week. Officer McCamus, and we'd like to dedicate to the 75 members of your class that is no longer with us, and we'll play Gone Home, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Ever hear of Speedy Bonding? Oh, my brothers and sisters, when you're down and in trouble and you need a helping hand while you're in jail, Speedy Bond is the way to go. And they don't call them Speedy for nothing. And quicker than quick, they was right there to help you out. They got Speedy's got 25 years bonding people out of jail. Give them a call, Speedy's Bonding, and they'll make you feel like you're in another world. And the number is, Speedy's Bonding is 479-9905. The number is 479-9905.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Companion Funeral and Cremation Service is a single-family-owned funeral home with on-site crematory located here in Cleveland, Tennessee. They serve the families of Cleveland, Bradley County, and the surrounding areas with professional, top-quality services at a fraction of the cost of their competitors. Companion offers options for traditional burial as well as cremation. Call them today for information about a prearranged policy or transferring existing arrangements from another funeral home. Companion Funeral and Cremation Service and the Cody family are here to serve you with all of your funeral service needs. Call them now at 473-2620. Check out their website at companionfunerals.com. That's 473-2620, companionfunerals.com.
Check into cash.
Turn your car into cash at Check Into Cash.
Get an auto title loan today for up to $2,500.
At Check Into Cash, you get the most for your car, and we make it quick, easy, and confidential.
Stop in for an auto title loan today or a payday advance for up to $425. Call toll-free 877-262-CASH.
Title loan amount determined by value of car and ability to repay. Borrowers often use payday advances over a period of months, which can be expensive. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hardwick Clothes, America's oldest tailor-made clothing company, has been making our best-selling navy blazers for 134 years. Visit Hardwick.com to get the $295 wrinkle-resistant travel blazer at the price of $195. Order by 3 and get by 10. Free next day air. Hardwick.com, America's oldest, and sewn in Cleveland, Tennessee since 1880.
The songbirds are singing, the dell seem to say you've gone home. They have gone home. They have gone home. They've joined the heavenly fold. They're walking the streets up here gone. They left one by one as the work here was done. Gone home. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home. Life here is lonely since they've gone before. Gone. They have gone home. Gone. They have gone home. The old weeping willow that stands by the door sadly sighs. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home. They've joined the heavenly fold. They're walking the streets up here glowed. They left one by one as the work here was done. Gone home. They have gone home. Gone. They have gone home. They've joined the heavenly fold. They're walking the streets up here glowed. They left one by one as the work here was done. Gone home. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home. Where the old town goes. They moved it all over here in the shopping mall. Where the old town goes. Did my hometown get old, or just me? Did all my friends get old, or just me? Are they all gonna have to be told, or just me?
Welcome back to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9. You can go to the internet at www.whoopfm.com. You can call us here at 614-5553. We're talking about the class of 1965 from Bradley High School. And with us this hour, of course, Bruce Efferson's still here, Raymond Bracken, Ton Murphy, and Tommy Allen. And we'd like to thanks for being here. And our sponsor for our program is Companion Funeral and Cremation Services, 2417 Georgetown Road Northwest, 473-2620. Call out and talk to the Cody family there and do your pre-planning. Or if you have immediate needs, please go out and see those folks. Great place. I can honestly say that they took care of my mother's services and I'm very happy that we were there. And Bruce, I wanted to ask you one more question here. I didn't ever get you what your first car was, but I almost bet it was a Ford.
Well, my very first one that I could call my own was a 53 Studebaker Commander Lowboy.
All right.
And that was that kind of futuristic, beyond its time, sleek-looking little Studebaker. It was a 53. It was powered by a 52 Cadillac engine. And somewhere along the way, I connected up a 4-speed, I believe it was a Hydromatic Oldsmobile transmission to it. It was never titled, never licensed, but often driven.
So I would figure you would have been knowing your dad. I mean, I thought a Ford would probably been the first thing you had, or your papa would have been a Mercury.
Well, the Ford was the first hot rod I had.
Okay.
Tell us about that hot rod that you and Danny Houston fixed up here.
Let me get this caller.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, caller. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
If you
Call back. I missed you there. Go ahead. Go ahead. What did you make?
When I turned 16, my dad ordered a new 63.5 Ford Galaxy from the Ford dealership here in Cleveland. And at that time, the showroom was down Inman Street in the direction close to 5 Points. And he got word that the car had been delivered to the Ford dealership. So I assume it was a Saturday morning when we went to look or pick it up. And the dealer had to do some prep to it. It needed a wash job and cleanup and that sort of thing. But there was an upstairs storage area in that building where the showroom was, and it was accessed with a wooden ramp. They actually drove the cars.
Red Cross is in that building now for people
No,
who
there's
are,
that's what
well,
Red
it
Cross
used to be
was
Red Cross
there.
there, now it's a
No,
dance
that's
studio.
And
That's
it's been
right.
refurbished.
Yeah.
The building has been.
But it was like an old warehouse.
Mhm.
And so they told us where it was, and we went upstairs, took the steps upstairs, and this car was sitting sort of back in the middle of the room, and it was a big floor, probably wooden floors. And I don't remember there being any electrical lighting up there, but there were windows all around the building there that let in the natural light. But when my dad showed me that car, man, my heart just took a leap. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. It was chestnut colored on the bottom with a white top. Through some unfortunate circumstances, my dad had ordered it with a big engine initially, but changed his mind once my brother and some of his friends got tangled up with a tree in an automobile. So he said, we don't need that much power in this car, so we're gonna just order a 352 engine instead of a 390. So that was the car, and that was my first impression the first time I looked at it, and I just thought it was beautiful. And we kept that car for several years until I was in the Army later on. And the time that I was in school, in high school, Danny Houston became a mechanic at the Ford dealership. So we did some midnight work on that car, and put some high performance components in the engine, and souped it up a little bit, and it would move pretty good.
Purely approved by your dad.
Well, like I said, this was midnight work.
You hope he will.
But he shared that car with me. Of course, it was a family car. That's what he ordered it for our family. But it soon became mine and his hot rod.
Yeah, it was a. If you remember those cars, that they are longer than two cars today, I believe it was. It was a long car.
Yeah, big cars back in those days.
I asked Tom and Tommy, someone said, where did you guys hang out after you left school? I mean, the Bears Den, Sugar and Spice. I mean, where did you hang out? Pool rooms, and Tom, the bars that you went to when you were in 12th grade. Go ahead, Tom.
They wouldn't let me in there.
Yeah.
But we did do the route, the Bears Den, down to through Cleveland to Sugar and Spice. And,
was the Chow Now open then? Or was
Chow Now?
It was where the Rebel was. Was it?
It was the Rebel Den.
It was the Rebel.
Oh, it was the Rebel already.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It was originally the Chow Now. Then I didn't know what time it changed.
And that kind of reminds me of a funny story. My cousin Gary Gann is also in our class, and if you're listening out there, you need to sign up, son. But we were driving, we had bench seats in the car, and somebody was driving, I'm sitting in the middle, and Gary's over here, and we're cruising through, and Gary was kind of mischievous, and he had a bent toward that, and so didn't notice till we was almost through there that as we go through, Gary's bending over tying his shoes, so to speak, the whole time. So about the time we had to come in here, realize that it's like it's me and Raymond sitting here, It looks like we're sitting right next to one another. As we go through the Bears Den, it's like, you know, get up from here. Let's go through again with him up. That's the kind of thing those are the kind of things that happen that you kind of remember sometimes.
Yeah, and that Gary Gann, he could really pull some stunts too.
All right, Tommy, what kind of trouble did you get into?
And you know, I don't know, you know, you speak of the sugar and spice, and I can't get over, you know, Corky's dad. I do believe that was Corky's dad's business at that time. So, Corky, if you're out there this morning, we want to hear from you as well, too. I don't think you're on the list, but we're looking for you. And that was certainly a highlight. I remember some of us occasionally at the back of the row at the Bears Den, you know, maybe we were just beginning with the Budweiser brand and those things that we shouldn't have been beginning with and exploring with, but at times many of us would have to take a little nap there on the back row. So some of that we don't really want to remember, but it's still there.
Some of it we don't remember.
Where did you get the Budweiser at that? And could you go get it?
Key Street. We would go to Jake's.
Oh, yeah. Was the bootleg? What bootleggers were running back in those days? Was Snorts out there?
I didn't do that, but yeah, they were. Snorts.
Yeah, right.
They had Snorts. They all had a nickname. There was one I never went to, but I heard it was Nubs.
Nubs,
What was the one? There was one on... It was Betty Ledford's dad. Or Johnny Ledford's, not Betty McCourtney.
Rusty's was on
Rusty.
Pike.
There you go, Rusty.
And then Snorts.
On
and
64.
We did a show about the 64 area out there, and the guy said, showed me a picture, and he said, "Do you know who that is?" And he told me his name. No, he said, "Well, his name's Snort." I said, "Well, I only recognize this much of him."
Exactly.
There's a window. He stuck his arm out there.
Exactly.
Raymond, what did you do to get in trouble? When you were in high school, I know what you did later on in life.
Mostly I was a class cut-up or clowner. I liked to smart off to the teacher, or maybe not smart off, but cute remarks, and sometimes they didn't like that.
Were you this tall in high school, too?
When I got out, I was.
Yeah. You're not just the average height.
Well, I was tall enough to where Vietnam was going on so hot and heavy that I was drafted. I went to sign up. They said, how tall are you? I told them 6'8". Come back with me. They measured me, turned me down, and said, we can only take you with permission from your senator or whatever. I told them to hold the paperwork till I got that in. They must still be holding it.
So that was one advantage, and you're real handy about changing light bulbs in the house, aren't you?
Change light bulbs. I get to paint the ceiling and the upper walls, and my wife paints the lower walls and cleans the floor.
I'm not near as tall as you, but we try cars on instead of out, right?
Yeah, it's nice to drive a car that gets 35 miles a gallon, but the best I've ever got is something I could buy was 15, 16. That's a pickup truck.
So you could get in it.
SUV.
Yeah.
You don't get into it, they're real easy.
I used to take my luggage and Ron to the car lot and said, I will take whatever car my husband and my luggage will fit in. And the salesman would get real creative.
Yeah, I drove a lot of big cars myself there. So, did you eat out as much back in '65 as people do today? I mean, no one eats at home anymore, it seemed like. How many times did you sit down at your mom's table and have dinner?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
She expected it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What about the rest of you? I mean, when?
Yeah, absolutely. Every day, and sometimes on Sunday, we'd go out to eat.
Where would you go out to eat?
You know, we used to go to the Snack House, which is down the building down on 5 Points beside the railroad track. We went there. My dad knew them. And then we'd go to the Holiday Hill sometimes, a restaurant my dad and mom later bought. And there was a place called Lon's, I think up on North Ocoee. And my mom actually worked there for a while before she
What about
started doing
the
other
Grand
things.
Lunch? Was it open on Sundays, or did you ever eat at the Grand Lunch?
Not on Sunday, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I definitely ate there.
Yeah. That's the fastest
Tall
service in the world.
ceilings.
Yeah. What about you, Tommy? What did you remember eating out a lot when you was a kid?
Yeah, and I think elementary school, we go back to Arnold. I mean, so many of us were in Arnold from 1 through 9, and I remember there was a cafeteria, maybe 2nd, 3rd grade. There was a cafeteria right here in the mall.
Yep.
I can remember that.
The village cafeteria.
The village cafeteria.
Yes,
I can
yeah.
remember that. But that's about as far as my experience
Now,
goes.
the village, I believe, opened up about 59, Ron. Is that right?
59, 60,
60.
so yeah, in that range.
How
yeah.
did that change Cleveland for you guys? I mean, was it just not any big deal, or was it a big deal? They're all looking at me like, why did
It
she
gave
ask
us a
that?
great place to. The parking lot was wonderful to get together and socialize.
Yeah.
Down by the creek?
Down by the creek.
Yeah.
And you hope all the
full of non-shoppers.
It did stay full of non-shoppers. I guess y'all were looking for the pretty girls that were coming shopping, too.
No.
No.
He still does that.
Yeah, but they put him in jail for it now.
On our planning for this reunion, we had a question. There was a little survey sent out, and it says, "What do you remember most about Bradley?" And I put down fast cars and pretty girls, or vice versa.
Yeah.
You like the fast, pretty girls. I think what it was. What about the snack house across the street? Did you?
Oh, no.
I didn't hang around there much,
No,
although
I was afraid of that one, too. I don't know. I think Tommy can help us with it.
I think Bruce liked pretty cars and fast girls.
Yeah.
Well, did you go to snack house across the street?
It's snack shop.
Snack shop.
Snack shop.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Were you a regular there, Tommy? Did you go there about every day during
By the
lunchtime?
time I was a senior, almost every day.
Yeah.
Miss Clemmer was also a regular there, clearing it out to get you back in class.
No doubt. No
I
doubt.
love it.
She, like we talked a little bit about her earlier, that she was definitely. I remember growing up at Oak Grove School and hearing Miss Clemmer in like the first grade. You'll wait till you get to Bradley, though. You'll see Miss Clemmer, and we were pretty scared every time we got there. But she turned out to be a pretty nice lady.
She was wonderful and scary, but wonderful.
Yeah. Putting together fast cars and the snack shop, I'll tell you what made my day when I was at school there. At lunchtime, of course, people were out on the lawn and over there at the snack shop and coming and going. But what made my day was when Fat Cat Bolin pulled out of the snack shop in his black 55 Chevy and laid down rubber on Old Coy Street. That was what we were all out there for.
Every day?
Yeah, and he obliged us almost every day, too.
It was good just to listen to it idle.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Fat Cat's done our show a couple of
Fat
times.
Cat and Snake Man and Victor Hicks and Stacy Cry came in, and they, I think they laughed more than they did. But then the day after they did the show, or on Monday, they showed up at Victor's Auto Parts down there. And they're all talking about they can still beat each other, but now they're racing minivans. Wheelchairs like we're racing. Yeah. Fat Cat definitely was a legend in doing that. But Stacy Cry runs a station out on Phillips 66 out on Spring Place right there near our houses now. And I think every drag race in town got planned across the street from where I lived out there. And I was a young boy, and I swept up for Stacy to sort of stay out of trouble.
Do you guys
Where
remember?
did you live?
At the corner of Spring Place and Durkee.
Okay.
There's a little red. Yeah, well, you're right down the street. Yeah. Across the street was a Garen's store, little neighborhood store there. Then
Used to be a Heinemann store, I think.
Yeah. And then Orr-on-Bee. Was that its Orr?
Yeah, Orr and Jean's Amico station.
Right across the street. And then over the other side was Phillips 66. And then we sold our house and became a Favorite Market, I believe what it was, or one of those stores there. And it got blown down by a tornado not too long ago.
Yeah. It looks really different out there.
Yeah.
No trees.
Yeah, I think, well, of course, I've been gone from here since high school, but everything looks different, I mean, you guys that have been here the whole time, I mean, you've sort of seen the changes, but when I come back, it's really hard to pick out places that I remember because, well, a lot of them aren't there anymore.
That's true.
You guys are just about to start driving when they built Keith Street?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
That was the main route for cruising between the Bear's Den and the Rebel and Sugar and Spice and there was one on past Sugar and Spice called the Little Pig.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if anybody remembers that or not, but that was the cruising route, and we burned a lot of gas up and down Keith Street.
How much was it back then?
Quarter.
Yeah.
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 You know, Ron, one thing I want to interrupt. The Rose and I moved back to town in '06 to really help my mom and dad. They since have both died. But I've lived in larger cities, Houston and Washington, D.C., and our last city was Richmond, Virginia. But Cleveland is really a special place, and I think the world of these folks and everyone else. I had just one little thing on my mind that I really kind of wanted to share with everybody. I was looking through one of the old football programs. We weren't very good. Bruce is well aware of that. But there were two captains that are not with us anymore, and I just wanted to mention their names, Johnny Davis and Gary Pegues. And those two guys were really two swell guys. We miss them a great deal, but I just wanted to make sure that their names are not forgotten. But anyway, Cleveland, again, is pretty special, and Rose and I think the world of it.
Yeah, you guys came in, after those glory days, 58, 59, 60, 61. Bob Johnson graduated the year before you guys, I believe, 64.
Yes, that's right.
And David K. Wood, but that wasn't much.
Now, be nice.
Well, David's shorter, what I meant, a lot shorter. I think they were the captains in 64.
Yes, that's right. Evans, Johnny Evans, and David Kaywood were captains that year.
Oh,
yeah.
And I've got a picture of you, Bruce. You and David Kaywood and Andy Ballinger were the halfbacks one year.
Yes, that's right. We were right halfbacks.
Yeah.
If Bruce had stayed with us for our junior and our senior years, we would have been a heck of a lot better. Yeah. So, I'm going to lay the blame on him right now for that 3 and 7 our senior year. So.
Like I said, but that was a decline from there, and I came in '68 and it went a little deeper, and then by '72 it was and of course Cleveland had came along by then, and we just didn't beat Cleveland for many years.
I'd like to mention, if anyone has even home movies of the Bradley Band during this time, or the football films, that Ron and I can try to transfer those, and they're much better off transferred than they are in your garage. So let us know if you have anything like that.
We do have some amazing films we're trying to get transferred now, and I won't mention all the schools that we have, but some pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, Tommy, thanks for that compliment there about the athletics side of things. But that was when I was turning 16, and that's when that new Ford showed up. And as we've mentioned, the girls kind of got in the picture there too. So my interest sort of shifted during my junior and senior years, and that's
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, growing up on Spring Place Road and living next to station there, and seeing Bruce go up and down the road, and the Chestines, and the way Willie Bain in his Dodge that sticks straight up in the air. I just sit out in the front yard and watched it all day long. They were going back and forth constantly, and they laid a little rubber out through that way too.
I want to bring up something a little more serious for just a second.
Sure.
Tom brought up Gary Pegues and Johnny Davis, two of our class members that have passed on. There's about 75 of us that are no longer here. I don't know if y'all spoke about that at all in the first hour.
We just a little bit, yeah.
This is another reason for people to come to this reunion, because a lot of us aren't going to be here. You're not going to see my face again someday.
Mm-hmm.
So, we get together and we don't remember these things. We don't think about what it was like. But once you do go to one of these reunions, and I've been to a couple, it's a very warm feeling. There's really, the pretense usually disappears, and people are who they used to be. And it's really a great thing to experience. And so we want you to come.
Yeah, this is a great time. Yeah, a great time to reconnect and renew these old friendships, people you haven't seen in years. And as Tommy says, it gives you a warm feeling to see people that you knew in your younger life. And this is a milestone, 50th year anniversary and reunion. And we have two events, one on Friday night and one on Saturday night. And we did that because one reason we did it was because a lot of times at one setting or one event, there just isn't enough time to get around to everybody. We had a very large class, and we just hope we have a great turnout for both of these events and be able to see some folks that we hadn't seen in years. Davey's looking at a picture that was made at our 10-year reunion. This was up in Calhoun, across the street from the Bowater plant up there. There's a park there, and we have a group picture here. It's black and white. There's been other reunions. I think we had 20th year at the Cleveland Country Club, and maybe the 30th was at the Elks Club. I'm not sure if that was actually a 30th. It was? Okay.
I think the most amazing thing is that in 1975 you could mail an 8x10 photo with a piece of cardboard behind it for 16 cents.
Oh, in 1965.
No, this is 75 for your reunion.
The 75, yes.
Yeah.
Getting into this, we've lost several members. Now, I can speak to that personally. February of 2014, I had supposedly minor neck surgery. For 8 weeks, I was in intensive care at Erlanger, not knowing whether I was even going to make it or not. Thank goodness I'm here. My wife said the reason she saved me because she didn't have a date for the funeral.
And insurance wasn't paid for
right.
yet. Yeah.
But you never know when you shut that door behind you, whether that's the last time you're going to shut that door or not. So come, visit, see, renew old acquaintances. I'm in a chair now, but I'm getting better. And we don't know when somebody else is going to be the same way.
You know, Raymond, we talk about that every week here on our program, is saying that if you've got old pictures at home, you need to pull them out of the drawers. You got to get your grandfathers and your fathers and your aunts and your uncles and make sure that they write down what the names are in those pictures, because when we lose a loved one, there's a lot of history goes away, and your classmates a lot of history. So, you know, share pictures, you know, these great things, Facebook out there. You know, be surprised if you can. I posted a picture, an ad out of one of your annuals, of the snack shop. People started answering that questions, and one lady wrote that the only reason she never went there because Mom told her that's where all the trashy girls went. And surprise, now I know who all the trashy women were in your class, because they're the ones that I went there every day. So Helen Ryden, you know, some people, but save your history, you know, and you can record on your telephone now. I mean, you can pop out and you do a video. If you don't have a video of your mom and your dad, if you still have opportunity, or grandparents, make sure you just take a little clip of that. I know Eddie did our grandfather back in I don't know how many years.
Bruce did it.
Bruce
did recorded our grandfather back. How many years ago was that?
It was an audio recording done probably in 1975.
Yeah.
75 or 76.
Yes.
And it is just you know, play that tape and hear your grandfather's voice again. It is just so great. So the reason we do this show is to share that with you. And
to expound a little bit here and kind of tie a few things together, there is a cruise in today in downtown Cleveland. Mm-hmm. They have some beautiful cars there, and these are old cars back from the era of the 60s and 70s, primarily the muscle car era. And our culture has done a great job of preserving these beautiful automobiles that were produced back in those days. And to go along with what Ronnie said, we need to make a similar kind of effort to preserve all the history that's hidden in closets and in desk drawers and picture albums. I'd like to just kind of piggyback on what Ronnie said. Pull those things out and get the names of the people that are in the pictures while you still can, and it's going to be amazing what can be achieved with all that.
And the names need to be put on the back of this reunion picture.
Yes, you're right. You're right, Debbie.
I just write it on a piece of paper.
Hey, go ahead, caller. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
This is Pat Queen, one of those Spring Place Road people.
Hi, Patsy.
They're all grinning and shaking their head yes.
I was just going to tell you, after graduation, several people from Cleveland went to Tennessee Tech in Cookeville. There were 3 girls, Gail Tucker, Dolores Seuss, and I, and there were a lot of boys. And the Cleveland boys had a big reputation at Tech. all the girls would come and ask. You know, they were so jealous. You grew up with those Cleveland boys, and they'd come and ask us all about the Cleveland boys. I don't know why there was that reputation, but they had one, and there were probably a dozen or so who went to Tech after graduation.
Pat, can you who went to who were some of the boys?
Oh gosh, let's see. Some of them are there sitting with you.
Yeah, Raymond Bracken is one of them, and I think he can probably name some of those guys that were over there.
He's laughing.
Who else?
Doug Silvers, Tony Lyle. Those two come to mind right off the bat.
Well, there were about a dozen, I think, but there was a reputation, the Cleveland boy.
It was not earned. We were all good, fine, upstanding young men.
Oh, yes.
I think Ronnie Williams went over there, didn't he?
Yes, Ronnie was there, and I would always call somebody to get a ride home on weekends every once in a while, and I could always find somebody who had a car up there.
It's something in the water here in Cleveland, I think it is.
Oh, I think it is. And I agree with you. I've lived in several other cities, too, and I really am enjoying being back in Cleveland.
Well, Patsy, I hope you signed up for one or both of these reunion events, have you?
Both of them, and I signed up early.
Well, great. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah, and thanks for calling in.
Okay.
And I think these headphones may be getting a little tight with people's heads swelling from your comments about the boys at Tech.
They didn't know they were a thing.
Oh, it was a thing. It really was.
Thanks a lot,
you.
Pat.
Okay, see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Hey, you're listening to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9, or go to the internet at www.whoopfm.com. You can call us here at 614-5553, just like this caller. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yes. This is Connie Watson. I'm part of the class of 65.
They're all smiling and shaking their head yes. What's going on, Connie?
Well, the reason I'm calling in is to bring to light so that you can put it out on your website as well as on the air that the Holiday Inn Express is going to be extending us a special by blocking rooms off at a special rate for our reunion. The blocking is for the 24th through the 28th. You don't have to stay all of those nights, any of those nights, but they will give you the special rate that they're extending. But you have to call to a special number in order to do it, to 423-790-1199.
I got it.
And in turn, the deadline for that is September the 3rd. After that, any rooms that are left, they'll release them, but they're blocked off until then. But if you'd put that out there, we would appreciate it. And on your website.
We can do that.
I do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Enjoying the show.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We got Bruce Epperson, Raymond Bracken, and Tom Murphy, excuse me. I'll get your name right. Well, I've not known you long here. Tommy Allen, and they're here with the class of 1965. They got a reunion coming up on the date September
25th on Friday night and 26th on Saturday night.
And we can get you information on how to sign up. Hey, caller, go ahead. You're live. Hey, how you doing?
I think I know what car he was talking about, that 63 Ford.
Yeah.
His dad got 3 of them.
Yes, he does. He's got them in the garage, reserved and preserved for
Been in the garage.
three grandsons.
That's right. He let me in there and see them one day. I said, "You want to sell them?" He said, "No."
Well, one of the guys referred to it as Mr. Epperson's stable.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
His stable was full.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I'm listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who is the craziest person in your class? If they're present, go ahead and say them. Or if they're not.
I'd say Randy Fox.
Well, Randy's a year after them.
Well,
But who was just the crazy guy of all time? Gosh, nobody.
A moment of silence.
Well, I think it's hard to pinpoint any particular.
Who was a lot of fun to be around?
Who was 4 or 5
Let's
of them
name it
then?
like that.
Well, Willie Bain, I mean, he's always in the list, you know.
Yes.
And I ran around with my cousin, Gary Gann, whom I've brought up before. He goes in there.
Raymond, you remember one?
No.
What about you, Tommy?
You know, I roomed with a guy at UT for a year. You know, I'm sure he's listening now, but, you know, I think we all know who I'm talking about, but at times, Mr. Coward, you know, would step outside the box, but we haven't seen Russell on the sheet yet. So, Russell, if you're out there, let's we need you at the Friday night and Saturday night both. I know you can afford it, so that's not an excuse. So come on in. But I think Russell would fit that bill pretty good. So
I think you look back at the time frame, we were all about half crazy.
That's why we couldn't decide.
That's why it comes. I think all that comes with age.
Well, you learn not to tell on yourself.
When you put things in context, I think Raymond's pretty much on target. There were some pretty crazy things done back in those days.
If someone's listening and they want to attend, they can call Janice at 479-3191. And also, I wanted to mention...
The deadline's August 31st?
Yeah, I don't know that.
August 31st is
August
the deadline
31st.
for submitting your reservation.
Tom, you had a story here?
I do. This goes back, we all three went to Oak Grove.
And so did Ronnie. I mean, we
Yeah.
got a majority.
I'm a little behind.
We were all in the same grade. And there was one year, either the 5th or 6th grade, before we went to Arnold, that someone got to the locker and ate Raymond's cake. One of those people is here. At least one of those people are here right now.
I think maybe two.
And
He'll pay you back,
It had to be chocolate because I love chocolate, though I didn't eat any of it, and it was very good.
It would have probably been real good if I'd have known it. Well, there's a bakery right around the corner.
Look right here.
Here is your slice of cake with interest.
We have a whole cake here, a chocolate cake.
A whole cake. I sure do appreciate that.
That's funny. He's had a guilty conscience all these years.
I've never forgotten it.
Well, you know, there's some other reasons for getting together here for this 50th reunion. There's some other folks that I would like to make amends to as well. And Leland Brock, I sure hope that you make this reunion. I've missed seeing you. We were great friends back in the day. But there's a couple things I'd like to say to you and kind of apologize, I guess.
So you're getting your karma straight here?
Well, we have to clear out all these black marks before it's too late.
I told what I did.
Confess. I wanted to mention that next week on
what you did.
Yeah. Next week on our show, Ron Trevina school folks will be with us. Ed and Curtis and some other folks will be here talking about their upcoming reunion, which will be on September the 26th, I believe. Templeton Hill School, when you watch the Facebook page on it, it's going to be a big reunion also. That's going to be on September the 26th, like Saturday from 11 to 2.
At the old school site.
At the old school site, they're going to have a tent set up so that we won't have to worry about weather very much. And something else to plan to come to is Bill Talley's going to be back in Cleveland, and he'll be here for his book signing on September the 29th. And I believe it's going to be here in the Village Mall.
The book written by George Starr called How Big is a Giant is the name of the book about Bill Talley, and Bill will be here. And then on the 26th, we'll have some people who played ball with Bill Talley.
Worked with him, and the author of the book we hope to have here also, and we'll talk about Bill Talley. And Bill's going to call us in that day. He won't be here. He's flying in from Texas, I believe, where he lives now. So he couldn't come and stay that many days.
You guys remember Bill Talley?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, you can never forget him, and he was he amazed us all.
Yes.
Taught you not to complain about your situation.
Yeah. He's it's got How Big is the Giant? It's the name of the book, and of course went on, had a great career in college football, and
really,
he coached.
What college was he at? Do you remember?
Oh, several. I mean, he done some things with Sloan at some of the locations he's there.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. Texas Tech. I think he's still in Texas and had worked still around smaller colleges out that way. So he made his life out of sports. So and pretty amazing, So if you don't know who Bill Talley is, you need to get the book and find out. Amazing man, and He'll be autographing his books down here on the 29th here at the Village Green, or outside the Bistro.
Speaking of books, the United Daughters of the Confederacy has reprinted the 1908 book, I believe, is how they raised money for our Confederate monument that's down at the intersection of Broad and McCoy Streets. I understand that you can purchase those. I believe they're
It's
20.
a cookbook.
It's a cookbook.
Yes.
For $20, and I believe the Rebel has them, and soon Stampers is going to carry those. It's really hard to have a local book and have someplace good to have it. So plan to go by and pick up yours. They're limited. You ladies that love the local history books need to get that.
Let me ask you one final question here. Sort of, 1965, we talked earlier that Wooly Bully was the song of the year that year, and Satisfaction by the, you look, the songs you guys heard, they're all classics now. I mean, they're just unbelievable. But also, the country was changing tremendously here, cultures, and then 1965, first combat troops landed in, we had troops around Vietnam, but we landed combat troops in 1965.
You guys also saw integration happen.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
That was the first year that black students came to Bradley.
I believe Herb Blackie told us on the show that the first guy ran down the basketball court and slam dunked the ball, and they said integration's going to be good.
Terry Scott.
That's Terry Scott.
Yeah, Terry Scott.
He was not the only one.
Yes, but that was just a moment in time.
And I think Steve Bradford was the first black football player, I believe, and he graduated 68, so he was there. Let me get this call. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
About time.
Hey, Miss Ella, did you have a nice birthday?
Oh yeah, I had two cakes. I had ice cream cake and a chocolate cake. I started that black cake.
Yeah, chocolate cake. Did you get the card from me?
No, not yet.
Okay, I mailed you a card. You be asking for it. I hope I sent it to the right place.
When did you send it?
I sent it to the Willows in Blackfoot, Idaho.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it just hadn't gotten to you yet.
Okay. Well, I wanted to put something straight.
Oh, no, Miss Ella. Ron, she's going to put something straight.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, Daddy says I'm in a crazy house. We don't know these people like I do.
Well, Fro knows a crazy house, if anybody does. And we know that he's not there with you, so that must not be the crazy house.
No, it's not. They just have Alzheimer's.
They just have Alzheimer's. Well, Miss Ella, we're so glad that you called, and it's time for us to get off the air.
Hey, I sent you a 6-pack of Budweiser.
He did not.
Before it gets here.
Well, you'll let us know. All right. Thanks, Miss Ella. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
Bye-bye. So we've heard from South Carolina and Idaho today, and Georgia.
True confessions. I'm not going to give you all the gory details about Leland and what I did, but it involved emptying a big cup of iced tea on his shirt at school.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Times changed. Integration, you saw that. And what was your first reaction to that? I mean, didn't seem to me like, of course, I'm a little younger than you guys, so not a lot, but a little younger, and that integration or the racial problems in Cleveland was never a big deal anyway.
No. I'd read a book in high school called Black Like Me, and we grew up with certain attitudes in the community, and it changed mine. And I think I would probably because Terry Scott was such a good basketball player, that might have made that ease into integration at Bradley
and a fine fella too.
Absolutely, and his brother,
fine
and all
family.
of them, so it was a way to get it's just like school. We go to high school, you get to meet different people from different places, not the same grammar school, and now we get to talk to people that are from a different race, and that mingling never occurred before. And you lose a lot when you don't have that.
I warn y'all that Foxy's online listening to you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happened, and there was no negative impacts as far as I knew. I never heard anything that was out of the way. No comments. I mean, it was just like just
much easier.
Everybody's going to school here, and that's it.
That's good. And what Tommy, did you see any difference?
You know, Ronnie, I don't think we, you know, I remember when those kids came out on the practice field that first day, and, you know, we didn't handle it very well. The staff didn't handle it very well, and I think we all could have done better. And I've got a lot of misgivings about it. I wish we had a chance to do it over again, but we don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we need to recognize that some mistakes were made then.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of this has been addressed publicly.
Mm-hmm.
So
I appreciate
anyway,
your honesty about that.
That's kind of, I just think a lot of it just wasn't handled very well. Those first few days on the field, and I believe it was spring. I don't think it was the fall practice, but I believe it was the spring practice.
I know.
You know, I heard Mr. Bradford speak and talk about that, and he said, you know, there were some things said and done, but by the end, he had some lifelong friends. But he said it was rough being the first guy. He was rough.
Steve was pretty big and take care of himself.
Yeah.
Now, we have a friend from over at Cleveland High School said when integration started at Cleveland High School, he went from first string to third string in
one day.
Raymond?
Well, part of what we got into with segregation or desegregation is like we were all over Spring Place Road.
Mm-hmm.
And we had never met anyone. It's like going to another country.
Mm-hmm.
It took us a while to know that they were just like us.
Mm-hmm.
But when you first talked to them, you didn't realize that you were a little scared or whatever. But after a little while, they were one of the crowd. They was one of us.
Right.
Guys, I cannot believe this 2 hours has already whizzed by.
One other question here. Vietnam, I mean, how did you think that changed? I know Bruce, I keep calling him Bruce. I mean, you look so much like Grandpa and Eddie. Bruce, and you went to Vietnam. Thank you for your service to our country. How did it change society? I mean, and, you know.
Well, you know, that's you can talk for days and days about what impact that conflict had. From the personal level all the way up through our culture and politics, but it was a trying time, not only in Southeast Asia, but in this country too. And we've touched on the desegregation and the civil rights issues that we needed to work through. I think I can say this with some certainty that anyone who was in that conflict came back a different person, and a lot of times they were certainly not the same person, and there were issues that had to be worked through. The PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder, wasn't recognized at that time. I know personally I went through that myself, and it took many, many years to get through that, but even then, I was not the same person as I was when I went over there. There's, you know, the country was, in general, was not behind that effort, and that's very unfortunate. And I'm really thrilled that in this current time that people really respect the service that our men and women are given over in the Middle East. That's really wonderful to see that appreciation, and I also am beginning to feel the appreciation that should have been shown when we returned from Vietnam. But people are beginning to recognize that was a sacrifice on our part, and the cause, you know, fighting communism. All that, it's all pretty philosophical, but it's good that to be recognized. And at our Saturday night event at the Country Club, there will be a recognition ceremony for the veterans, all veterans, not only Vietnam era, but for all veterans that are in our group.
Tommy, what about you? Do you have any about how the times changed?
Yeah, it's gee whiz. I remember my mother gave me a little note. She said, "Take this to the induction station when when you go for your for your review and your physical and whatever else. And I gave it to the doctor, and he read, and he said, well, we don't know what to do with you, so he sent me home. So at that point, kind of like Raymond, I didn't argue with him, and so I came on home, and we all struggled through that whole period. It affected our careers. It affected our schoolwork. Many of us were waiting on our numbers to drop. Mine dropped. Bruce's dropped. So anyway, and I guess I can only appreciate what Bruce and others have done for us, and we're so grateful, us that stood on the sideline and watched and applauded you. So again, thanks to you.
Tom, you got something?
I think that brought on the time from where we all trusted government implicitly, maybe without being innocent, to where that maybe we didn't trust government so much, that maybe there was things going on that they didn't teach us in school about history and real current events and what really happened. And I don't think that trend has ever really disappeared.
Yeah. Raymond, you got anything to...
It did a tremendous service to the higher education in this country because the draft was going on, and a lot of folks, so many folks, went to college to get out of the draft.
To delay it.
Yeah, and not only that, Raymond, those of us who came back were able to finish our education on the GI Bill, and that was a great benefit.
Tremendous push for education, higher education in this country.
Well, you know, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the service, or didn't go. In 1972, my draft number had went into the 80s, you know, and by the time I graduated, we ended the draft. And Vietnam War was basically over, just the cleanup at that time. So it was growing up as a high school, you know, and Bruce knows my mom used to sit and watch the news every night to see if she could see Bruce on
That's
TV.
That's the first time that it was brought into our homes every night.
Yeah,
guys, I'd like to say good morning to somebody if I can take just a moment. Sure. And you'll know this name when I say it. 92-year-old Claude Holmes. He and his brother both served in World War II, and I was watching TV the other day, and Mr. Holmes popped up on TV screen, and he was being interviewed by one of the TV channels in Chattanooga about his service during World War II. And as soon as he got old enough, he signed up and joined and went, and so did his brother. And
right in Spring Place, right across from David Whaley.
He's about 3. Yeah, they all shook their head. But good morning, Mr. Holmes. I know he listens almost every Saturday.
Okay, now tell us one more time, how do you sign up for the reunion?
Well, you can call Janice at 479-3191 if you need more information. And the reunion is when, Bruce?
It's the Friday evening, September the 25th at the Tri-State Exhibition Center. Starts at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a catered barbecue dinner. Everything's going to be just very casual. Then September the 26th on Saturday evening, it's going to start at 6 o'clock as a social hour, 7 o'clock for the dinner at the Cleveland Country Club.
Absolutely.
And there's all kinds of great stuff on Facebook. Jennifer, Jerry, and Dennis Guffey both have just put tons of stuff on Facebook, so go there, okay?
And deadline's August 31st to sign up?
August the 31st, which I believe is this coming Tuesday, or Monday.
Yeah,
Monday, week from Monday.
What about your the number for Janice again?
It's 479-3191. Janice Cry Suits. Guys, thank y'all so much for coming in today. It's been a really fun show. We love to do reunion shows. And next week we will have Trevina School on, and they'll be talking about their life out in the country, and they will also be talking about their reunion coming up.
And on September 26th, the morning that you do of that morning with that, Deb and one of her friends and Mr. Cody's going to talk about funeral homes and funeral traditions.
That's in October, Ron.
October, never mind.
Okay.
I'll tell you some other story.
The other Graveyard Divas coming to town that day.
Well, they're going to do
October
about
23rd.
The old traditions, you know, laying people out at home, sitting up with the dead,
right.
Where you cannot bury people, and about the graves here. between Deb and her friend coming in, they can tell you where everybody in Bradley County is buried and what time they went there. They're pretty amazing on
We
that.
know the dead folks. Well, folks, as we always say,
Well, I always tell everybody that get the pictures out from under the bed, out of the closet, out of the shoe boxes. Get someone to write the names on a little white sticker, put it on the back of them. Because when people passes, you'll be surprised what a picture of a little old store over in the neighborhood. Someone talking about T.J. Howard's store over on Chippewa today. You know, those little stores, your aunt and uncle standing next to someone else, that brings back memories. That was a childhood friend. So any pictures, share them on Facebook. You know, get them out and show them to people and do that. And we always say everybody will remember Pearl Harbor, but
will they remember Aunt Pearl? See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
how about now?
Shopping mall. Where'd the old town go? Did my hometown get old, or just me? Did all my friends get old, or just me? Are they all gonna have to be told, or just me?
The best bands in the world.
Oh, yeah, they're great musicians. They all played solo on every... the bass player played solo, the piano player played solo. That's why they were so good. They overplayed.
I've got that whole three. It's a high dollar. Elvis Comeback 1968. I've got that whole video.
Oh, that's a great set right there, yeah.
Hey, Sid, you know, Matt Cordell. You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Companion Funeral and Cremation Service is a single-family-owned funeral home with on-site crematory located here in Cleveland, Tennessee. They serve the families of Cleveland, Bradley County, and the surrounding areas with